Middleware is one of the most unique part of any website. If we go in the Next.js documentation scenario, we can find that middleware allows you to run code before a request is completed. So the middleware in the context of web applications refers to software that sits between the server and the application logic, handling requests and responses as they pass through the system. It acts like a pipeline of functions that can inspect, modify, or terminate HTTP requests and responses. So basically, as you can see, based on the incoming request, you can modify the response by rewriting, redirecting, modifying by the request or response headers or responding directly. So this is a very good things, but while you are reading it, it's looking a bit of crunchy, but we're gonna try it in our application. So as you see here, we are passing that middleware logic. If we just try to go concentrate, like I want to go in the card, you see it's not let me redirecting, so we'll not go with that complicated version of the application, but we're gonna create a simple application which will let us do that handy. So I'm gonna copy that code because I'm gonna just create a simple Next.js application. So this is my Visual Studio code here, and my already the as you see, if we just look at here, my folder is right here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just pass that command here, and after that I'm gonna put space dot. So I want to build that application within it because I already have the folder name is the middleware app. If you doesn't have that, you need to just pass the name for your application. Okay, proceed. And here we're gonna make a lot of a simple variation here. Okay, I think I'll go all our default TypeScript and others. Let it be just like that and go with that. So it's a basic and simple application. Then we're gonna make some pages, and also we're gonna bring the authentication flow by which we're gonna know how we can accurately maintain the middleware. Like we're gonna set like user permissions if we doesn't have the user, some so those kind of pages will be restricted for anyone to use. Now as you see, we can go through it by using several scenarios. We will try to cover up, and then we're gonna know why we need to use the middleware to protect those routes. So application is created. We just run it npm run dev to run this application in our localhost 3000. So let's just give it a little bit of time to server to take in action, and it's gonna render within this port. And this is the dummy application which Next.js is providing by so far as a template application for that. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna re-render some of the promises, we're gonna set some of the pages, and then we're gonna just work around with that. To create the pages, we will let's just put some of the page name a card. So this will be a card page. So let's say page.tsx rafce to create the React Native snippet to create the components. So ce, and that should be card page. I'm gonna make it a bit of bigger. Okay. And then we're gonna also render, let's say, about page. I'm gonna take another file, should be about page.tsx or fce, and that should be our about page. So right now this is a two separate page segment is right here. Then we're gonna also render another page which is going to be, let's say, account / page.tsx or fce. So that will basically go our account page, event account page. And within the account page, we also gonna render another another page setup, which should be, let's say, we'll go to the order, then page.order, or we can say that orders / page.tsx or fce. So that would be our orders page. So this is the basically entire page segment. So I'm not gonna do much more the scenario here. You can make the way you feel better, but right now I'm gonna go and use some of the very basic setup by which we can just go and make the scenario to having a fundamental idea how the application can run. So first of all, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove, or I'm gonna just go with that. I think there is a lot of things here which we can reuse. So I'm gonna just remove those part, and let's say okay, I removed the main. Okay, so there will be a p tag, okay, and that should be middleware. It just hits. And as you see, we have our middleware application. And basically what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a navbar here so that it will be utilizing, or we can just say it should be a header. So we can now implement our components library here. I'm gonna just create a simple component so that it will let us understand a bit of things. So first of all, it would be header.tsx or fce. So the headers gonna be implemented everywhere, or I think basically I'm gonna remove that part. So p middleware. Okay, and the header, I'm gonna just implement that one within the layout because I want the header to be append to be everywhere. So the header. Okay, done. Now what I'm gonna do in the header part, we will just go and simplify some of the parameter. So I'm gonna just make that one like, say there should be a link, and that link should be, let's say, providing to home, and that would be an href / okay, href, and that would be / home. So that would be a main of that tremendous part. And here we're gonna make that a class name. I'm gonna make a padding of 5, and also let's say I think a padding 5. Okay, I'm gonna make a border b. Okay, cool. And border b, let's say gray of 400. Okay, so that's our header premises. So I'm gonna just create some more. So how many page we have? We have our about, we have our card. Let's say we'll go in about, we'll go in our card, we'll go in our, let's say, account, and I'm gonna take another one which will let us to go directly within our orders. So these are the route. So I'm gonna just simply passing that page ratio. Okay, account, and then we're gonna having our orders. That's it. So this is the route we have, and also I'm gonna make that a little bit a design centric. So make it a flex, item should be center, flex item center. I'm gonna provide a gap of 5 and justify center, you know, keep everything in the middle. Okay, right. So now we are having a very good of sense. We can now, you can create the hover effect. That's up to you. So we can just go / about, we can go to the card, we can go to the account, like all the pages is working perfectly. So we can now set through it. Now we need one user authentication setup, right? So by which the user can come and then start building page. And to build up our user, we'll go with to create a Clerk.com, because that's the application layer which is pretty much providing a lot of things. You need to sign in. Then if you have a Google application, it's very simple to sign in and go with that. So if you have that, you will just directly drag into your dashboard. And in the dashboard, as you see, you need to open a new application. So I have my previous application. I'm going to create a new application, and I'm going to provide the name of middleware, or I will make the name as the capital middleware. And for this one, I'll go with the Google, and also I'll go with the GitHub. So these two parameter, and also the email address and others, also I can pretty much independently access that. Now, as I'm using the Next.js, I need to run that command in my terminal. So I'm gonna open it, and let's just paste it. So it will open up, and then I need to get that API, like the API keys, and then I need to set the middleware. So I need to copy this one, and over here I'm gonna create a new file called middleware.ts. Now this is the middleware coming from the Clerk. And why is coming from the Clerk? Because as you see, the authentication parameter, the user authentication parameter, that would be matched within that premises. So we're gonna set up that, and within that one we will wrap it within also our Next.js parameter. Okay, so first of all, how the things going to happen and how the things we can really set up all together, that's the question. So as you see, we have our Clerk middleware. So after that, also we need to process the env file. So I'm gonna just create another file which will be .env. I'm gonna copy these two files and paste it here. So this is my Clerk publishable key, and this is my Clerk secret key. So this two key is responsible to joining me within my application. And if you having, and also after that, you see I need to wrap my entire application with the Clerk provider. So I'll go in my layout, and as you see in alongside with the HTML, everything I need to provide within that Clerk provider. Okay, so all the things going to be wrapped all together, and after doing that I'm gonna make a reload just to view if everything is okay or not. And for the middleware setup, as you see, for that env file which we are dealing with, that we can directly go with the configuration. In the configure file also you can have some of that the credential here, so that you can also view that credential property. You can directly find it within your API keys, and on that API keys you can also get that middleware. So this is the same thing which we are getting from there. That's the same parameter. Okay, now it's our time to go start building the application. So how we can set that things up? First of all, we need to have a button, like a user button. So I'm going to go in header. So all the functionality I'm going to keep in the header. So this is a one div here. Then I'm going to wrap it within a div, another div. Okay, I think we can basically, I'm going to wrap it within a div. So let's say one div, and here we're going to wrap that through it. So I'm going to just let's say this one. Okay, so I'm gonna make that class name a flex, should be item center, and I'm gonna put a gap of 5. Okay, so that would be good, and that should be justify between. So there would be two separate portions. So here is one div and another div which will be processed by, and then I'm gonna use that sign in button. Okay, that button going to be coming up from that Clerk. Okay, as you see, it will popping up the sign in parameter right here. So whenever I'm going to click on that sign in button, it will take me back directly within that page for that Clerk authentication or Clerk sign in. But I want that one to be happen to be within my application, so I'm going to pass the mode, which will be, let's say, model. So if I pass that as a model, so as you see, if we click here, it will automatically just rendering within my same application layer. It will not redirect me to some other portion. Okay, so now I need to choose my account, just go and configure everything. Okay, it's taking a bit of time. For the first instances, it will take a bit of time. So now as you see, I have sign in button, but what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna check if I have user or not. So I can check it within the server side parameter. Okay, so const user is equal to await. It should be, let's say, current user, and that is coming up from that Clerk server. So now we can just simply pass that. If we have the user, then we can pass that user. Okay, I think user button, yes. And if we doesn't have that user, then we will pass that directly on that sign in button. So now you will be able to see to one sign in parameter. So right now, as you see, our user is there, right? So typically what we are doing within any of the application is basically just to go hold up those parameters. So first of all, let's go in the cart. Okay, so now in the cart, as you see, what we are gonna do here, so first of all, we can check like a similar way. We can make our like a server side rendering, and then also we can make that const user user is equal to await, and then it should be the current user, and we can just simply pass that if no user, if no user, we can just pass that redirect, not that one, so redirect. That should be coming from next navigation, and we are passing directly at home. So right now, if I just try to sign out, it will see it's just coming up in my middleware. So I can also do some tracking here. So if we just now try to go in the cart, you see, it's going to the cart, but it's not letting to be in the cart. You see, it's directly prefetching and just entirely make the things happen to be not to entirely just in the cart, so that user cannot move. So that's the one way we can just go and move that parameter to take in action. And there is a lot of other way. So first of all, this one is working, but this is, as you see, we are calling first, then it's going to be the getting to the card, then redirecting. But we don't want that. We don't want to redirect them to the card, right? If it's not authenticated, you will not let the user to go that route, access that route itself. So how we can stop that? And to stop that one, we go in the app, we're gonna take another one, which going to be, I'm gonna fill up all my auth here, and in the auth I'm gonna create another file, which will be, let's say, I'm gonna make that sign in, and on that sign in I'm gonna go with that, let's say .rest. It should be a spreading tag, and that is basically the setup for the Clerk page here. So that's nothing else. So page.tsx sx rfce, so that should be okay, rfce, that should be sign in page. Okay, so that is basically the Clerk sign in page initiative which we are taking, because we want to predefinedly define the Clerk page here so that it will always be right there. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just bring back our Clerk sign in page ratio here. So what I'm gonna do, bring that sign in from the Clerk Next.js, and over here I'm gonna define that appearances. That should be a predefined like a bit of clarity. So the appearances, it should be, I'm gonna define it here, and that is some of the color combo. You see, okay, I think appearance, I'm gonna keep it like that. Yeah, only the possible things I'm gonna passing that is that the path, like whichever path it gonna follow, and also I'm gonna pass that the redirect key. So whenever we are trying to create, like we click on the cart, right? So after sign in, it gonna lead me back to the cart. It will not lead me to the home page. It gonna redirect to me that particular sense or the scenario which is happening. So in that way we can capture. Okay, so instead of this one, we can just if we doesn't have the user, we don't want to bring that to sign in, we will just land that link, and that link should be take us to sign in. And over here I'm gonna just pass that href, and that should be sign in. That's it. So if we click right now, as you see, okay, I need to make reload here first. If we click, it should render us to our sign in page. Okay, use search params, we use that, and for this instances we need to make that as a use client. Not the user client, but the use client. So now it will render within the use client flag, and we should be able to see, as you see, we have a custom middleware here, custom sign in page. So class name, I'm gonna make that one, let's say hide auto, and I'm gonna make it or instead of height, I'm gonna provide a padding of 10. Okay, and then of flex item should be center, justify should be center. Okay, I think the padding is not working, so let's say margin top of 10. That's it. So now we are now in the sign in, right? So if we click on the, like, we need to set the middleware in a way so that it will be easily injectable, right? Whenever we are going any of the route, we now can provide the matcher which route and which configuration we don't want the user to be invalidated. So now to implement that, let's go in the middleware section here. As you see, there is a config right here which is coming off from the Clerk. We don't want to touch it, right? It should be the way it's there. Now export default the Clerk middleware. So this is the middleware which we can really make those things top notch here. First of all, we will set that which pages should be protected, right? So let's say is protected route, and that route should be create, I think it should be route matcher. Yeah, and that create route matcher should be also coming from a Clerk Next server, and from there we will set a different variable path. First of all, we will go through, let's say, admin, and in the admin ratio we will add all the path. right, dot and then a star mark. So it will access all the part, like in admin route, whatever path, whatever the pages is here in the admin. As you see, we can have admin, we have orders and others. So it will track every single page in the account. So it will just first see the account, then it gonna just go, oh sorry, not the admin, but the account. And after that we have one. So after this one is done, we can now go with that. Let's say we don't want to be in the card, so also if anything name in the card, it will be protected, and that's it. So two protected route we are having there. So in that middleware segment where we are passing that, we'll take that async formula, and then here we'll first take the auth, then we're gonna also take the request, and then we're gonna pass that, let's say const auth object, and that auth object should be await, and then we're gonna get the auth. Okay, the auth we are taking as a parameter object. Yes, and after that, like if is protected route is available, means this is route is protected, then in that protected route we'll pass the request formula, and if we have like that auth object, and then auth object dot user id, so means we have the protected route and we doesn't have the user id. Okay, so means we doesn't have the user. So the route is protected but we doesn't have the user. So what we want to go directly past the user to be sign in. So let's say sign in, and also we will pass that redirect URL. So that should be redirect URL, and that should not be request.url, it should be request.nextURL.pathname. Okay, so now that should be passing that formula to just pass that, and then request.url need to be okay, what I did wrong. Okay, oh, I didn't set that as a URL. So I need to pass that within a variable. So should be const sign in URL, and that should be new URL. Okay, so in that parameter that should be passing that reg.url. So if we like, if the route is protected and if we have no user, then we're gonna getting that the sign in URL should be the sign in page, and then also the redirect path name. So from which pages we are coming, that should be also we are taking in action. Now after that, we, because it's working in a server side, so we need to return, and that should be next response is coming from that. And now this is the interesting thing. Now we're going to wrap it all together using that next server. Okay, so the response going to be a passing up from that server and redirect to the sign in URL, and after that also we will pass that return next response dot next. So this is how it's going to be easily interpolated. If we just hit reload, and also I think I can make that one as, let's say, h2 home page, and we will just make that class name text Excel font semi bold. That's it. So now we know. Okay, it's having a grid pattern which we can easily just pass. I'm gonna remove it first, so no need that. Okay. Okay, I think, yeah, some of that we are needing that. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna remove that altogether. No need that, and also the footer item, which is typically not working at all, so remove it. And I'm gonna just make a padding of 10. That's it. So now this is my home page. If I try to go in the cart, you see it's not taking me to the cart, right? If I now go and make the login, and now what it gonna do, it gonna take me back to the cart page. You see, I'm here in the cart page. So I'm also make it bigger for you so that you can understand, or you can see it easily. So now here, let's say h4, that should be cart page, and the same thing, class name text Excel font bold, and class name padding 10. So right now, as you see, that's like the classable situation, what it gonna happen, it will not let you go that view that page, but as you see right now, I can view the account. Right now what it gonna happen, like whenever that's at that meantime, whenever I'm making sign out, it's gonna automatically back to me to the home page, right? So if, and that is coming from here, you see, that is coming from here. If we remove that segment, this is not record right now, so if we just remove this one here, and if we try to go in the cart, now I'm gonna track it again so that you can easily see and view that one, that part in a simple way. Right now, okay, cart page, if I go and make sign out, you see, it's directly booming, so it's taking me back to the home page. So this is pretty good, and pretty like you have a very good understanding how the things can be work. Even you go in the orders, it will not go in the account, you cannot go in the orders, but in the orders, why we can go? So we have our account and then we have our orders, right? So let's go back to our middleware. So we have our account, I think that's the one, right? So I think in the orders also, okay, account, and yeah, it's taking, it's not taking, but in the account, okay, this orders is not the actual orders, because the order should be go account /account /orders, right? So that should be, so /account /orders. That's it. That's why it was not working. So let's go back there. If we go in the orders, you see, that's just providing that. So this is a very simple structure, very basic. There is no fancy, nothing at all. It's a basic structure how you can set up and how you understand the middleware to go. Now this is the same logic. So if you just check my previous middleware application layer, this is the same logic where we use in our application in that ShopTech e-commerce website. So as you see, that's the okay, I think it's just close. So that's the same logic we use, you see, and we are handling a pretty big e-commerce website using the same logic and same criteria. And as you see, also within the Clerk, you can just make that things work in a pretty good way. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna provide that code for you so that you can also try that, right? I'm gonna go in my GitHub. First of all, let's go in the git ignore file. Okay, if that env file is added, because I don't want to pass that env file. Okay, yeah, env is added. You just need to, okay, I'm gonna add that, but I'm gonna remove that my credential so that you can use your own credential. Okay, so that should be there, and I'm gonna just comment it. That's it. So now I'm gonna make that git init, git add dot and git commit, pass a message, initial commit. Okay. So now I'm gonna create a repo for you so that you can really grab that code and try it as your own. So let's create a new repo, and that should be middleware setup. Okay, middle. So let's okay, that should be my account, and here it should be public so you can access it. And after that, I'm gonna just copy this portion, paste that, so you can have entire application here. So now whatever we are building on that premises, if you just directly clone it, you can grab it. So this entire things is here. Just provide your credential here and it's gonna work, and you can just test each and every single statement or segment right here. In the meantime, also, if I'm having time, I'm designing that one. I'm gonna pass the design to you so that you can easily understand that. But this is a very basic setup. This is a very basic scenario. You see, this 2 route is not protected, but this 3 route is protected, and you will not be able, like, the good thing is that the very beautiful thing is you click in orders. Now you want to go to orders, like now you are going to log in, and after login we're gonna redirect to you directly to the order page so that it will make a lot of sense. And like most of the time what's happening, whenever I'm gonna log out, it redirecting me to the sign in page. No, I want to go back to the home page, you know, just push the user in directly at the home. So this is the basic structure. You have the code here. I'm gonna pass the repo in the link in the description so you can have it. And if you're thinking you're learning something new, let me know in the comments, and also hit the like button, subscribe the channel. So all the best. I think it's giving you an understanding boost of how middleware is working and what kind of things it can be done with the middleware. So all the best, and I'm gonna see you in next video.